breaking news. 10 Melbourne postcodes are going back into lockdown because
the whole of Greater Melbourne is heading back into lockdown.
The border between New South Wales and Victoria is being shut down.
And we escaped. So, since the last vlog, there was a lot of drama around Melbourne and Victoria. During our last week, lots of COVID-19 hotspots came up in Melbourne. So these were areas where COVID-19 had started to have more outbreaks. If you were in a hotspot of Melbourne, you wouldn't be allowed to travel out of Victoria and you had to lock down. Luckily, we weren't in a hotspot. We were in between two hotspots, but we weren't in one. So we were allowed to leave Victoria. We got on our flight.
Melbourne Airport.
Bye Melbourne.
Bye Melbourne.
Thanks for being amazing. The flight was a weird experience, everyone wearing masks, and the announcers kept saying keep your distance, but it was impossible because you're on a plane. Our flight arrived in Sydney and we took the train to the Blue Mountains, which is about 2 hours on the train outside of Sydney. Once we arrived in the Blue Mountains, we found out that Melbourne was going into full lockdown and that Victoria was closing its border in the next day. So we only made it out of Melbourne by 1 day before it would have been too late. We can't believe our luck that we actually got out of Melbourne. Whilst we were there, it didn't seem that bad, but it seems like a sensible precaution to just lock down the city and let the cases reduce. We met up with some friends, Sophie and Tom, who we travelled around Asia with, and we went for a bit of a hike. It was a really lovely day, the sun was out, we saw the forest, and at the end of the trek we got to take a sort of almost vertical train up.
Alright guys, welcome on board the Scenic Railway.
Hey! This is so fun!
That was really fun and it was great to see our friends. The next day the weather wasn't as good, but Lorna and I checked out the Three Sisters. And we went on this trek that took us down to the bottom and up again. There's some amazing views in the Blue Mountains, but it was a bit cold. So after a few days in the Blue Mountains, we got on another train. It was a 5-hour train journey to Newcastle. The train only cost about £6 though, which was amazing. I can't believe how cheap the train was. Arriving in Newcastle, we were amazed at how beautiful it is here. Arriving, I had no idea what to expect. I could only think of the English Newcastle. So coming here and seeing this sort of beautiful beachside area was a real pleasant surprise. We went on a bunch of treks on our first day here. found out about the history of the place. Like its namesake in England, it's known for its coal mining. I met up with a friend we made in New Zealand called Daniel, who lives here, went for a pint and a pizza. Lorna and I also got a tour from our friend Alex here. She showed us some of the sights, she drove us around. And we also saw some emus, and we were really lucky because we got to see some emu eggs. So that was an amazing experience, and she took us to her university, which had a really nice view of the city. Tomorrow I'm getting up at 5 AM to go on a whale watching photography expedition. And Newcastle's been really amazing. The food's been fantastic. Everyone's very chilled out. It's got a really nice vibe around the place, and it doesn't feel too touristy. Next, we're going to Byron Bay. We're taking a tiny plane to Byron Bay, so see how that goes. See you on the next vlog.